Good evening, everyone. It's another late edition of whatever the hell you call this that I do over here. Anybody watching the playback, thanks for coming in. Thanks for stopping. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm flying by the seat of my pants as usual. Oh, man. See, a few things to talk about. Let me just stall here for a minute, let a few people come in, hopefully. I'm going to drop the link in here as always. Let's see if anybody wants to come in. You know the rules. You don't have to be nice. You just got to show your face. But oh man, a lot's been happening. I got a couple videos to make tomorrow. I'm going to recheck. I don't know if you saw my video the other day checking my cutout. Not even really a cutout. It was a building that got demolished, got just knocked over, so all the cones flew everywhere. So I don't know if you would call that a cutout, more like an explosion of a colony. But I kind of wrangled up all the bees and got them in a box and brought them home maybe a week or so ago. Checked them the other day. I could not find a queen. But the lighting was weird. I was kind of dropping stuff here and there. It was kind of clumsy. I was focusing on the video, which is always dumb when you're trying to do a bee video, or just when you're trying to really do something meaningful and you're focusing on the camera. So tomorrow I'm going to check, going to run through them one last time. I might still film it, but I'm not interacting with the camera. I'm going to actually focus on what I'm doing to see if I can find a queen. Hopefully I do find a queen. Actually, I don't really care if I do or don't. I just want to know if there's one in there. If there is, then I can load them up with some honey. If there's not a queen, then I will combine them with another colony, a queen right colony that just could be a little stronger. So we got a nice little group of people in here. How you doing? Kelly Honey Alexander. We have our favorite piece of shit, the B-Man. The B-Man here. Good evening. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for giving me the watch time. But yeah, hold on, I didn't even put the link in here. Oh yeah, I did. Okay. So let me see. I'm going to make a couple of videos. I'll talk about a couple funny kind of things that I saw on YouTube recently. And then in my last live video, I put in the description that I was gonna leave that absolute imposter piece of garbage, not the B-Man, not this character right here. That's a different piece of garbage. But I was gonna leave that piece of garbage, Time is Honey, alone. All he had to do was just shut the fuck up, stop emailing me. I mean, I don't really care if he does. But then he just he just wants me to keep trashing his name, trashing his videos. He wants it. He likes it. He's got this this complex. I don't know what you call it. I guess he just likes to be, I don't know, dragged around. So he emailed me a couple more times. He must have been drunk or high or something. The emails don't really make sense. So I'll drag him a little bit later. I'll drag his garbage videos, his whole garbage persona. So because, it's content, it's kind of funny. Yeah. So there was I happened to scroll into a live stream going on the other day on a channel called Nature's Image, something or other, Farm Bees, something like that. It was on my feed, so that Bob Binney was there. I didn't watch much of it. I kind of just clicked in. Big respected bee man, Bob Binney, commercial beekeeper. you know, if you watch any of those live streams, they kind of, there's a pattern. I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but there was this part that stuck out in my mind where the host kind of, in the normal fashion, asks a question that goes on for 25 minutes, just goes and goes and goes. Finally, somewhere there's a question at the end. And I believe the question was something along the lines of, what made what started your love for these bees in a box? And very often when that question's asked, it's a pretty common question. If I have a guest on, I might say, "Hey, well, how do you get into the bees?" And I was expecting this poignant kind of answer about, "Oh man, when I was a kid, I just loved watching the bees, and I just so interested in nature and all this grandeur." And Bob was gangster. He just flat out said, "I got into the business. It's a business for me. It's he didn't say money, but it's about that money. That's all it is." And it just, I almost, I was just like, wow, these are the guys, that's their thing. It's money. It's great. That's all they're about. They don't give a shit. They're not their little girls. The bees aren't their little babies. They don't love bees. They don't give a shit about bees. They if there was something that made more money and was less work, they'd do it. It was just kind of a little highlight of some of the lives I was watching. The other lives, the ones that the bee man here goes to, those other Apex Biologics lives. That's all it is. It's all they talk about. That's all it is. It's just call it the Apex Biologics live. How you doing, David Blagg from Survivor Bees? What are you up to? That was one funny part of a live stream. I tried to watch some of it. I posed a couple questions in the chat. I don't know if I'm blocked over there. I don't know if I'm blocked. I don't even know those people. But yeah, they were good questions, not just the normal ass kissing stuff going up in the comments. All the comments were, "Oh, I want to hug Bob Benny's nuts." I just love this. And it was just so much just obsession with this. It's just a guy. So I asked a couple questions. They just rolled up the screen and disappeared. Never any acknowledgement or anything. Who cares? No big deal. I don't really care about his answer anyway. So, I mean, the bee man, once again, do you want to come up and say something? Do you have anything to say? I wouldn't let you up. You don't have a picture. You don't have content. You're just a piece of shit. I mean, I'm happy you're subscribed to me. I'm glad you answer these notifications and come in. I mean, it cracks me up. But so yeah, let me see. Were there any other? Let's see. What was that other? Hillbilly's on a roll with his completely informationless videos. Just cracking me up. But I can't think of anything specific to put up on here. It's just so far out there. If you go back a couple months, his videos are talking about how Hive Life products are garbage. You don't put that shit in your bees. Now all of a sudden, Hive Life is great, but Apex Biologics is better. It's better because of all this crap. There was some video today he did about sitting in front of your bees and watching them is the most important thing. That's just the most important, just droning on. Everybody knows you got to watch it's good to watch the front of your bees. Everybody knows that. But if that's all you do, like if on the one hand you call people bee havers who don't get into their hives and look at them and do basic maintenance, if on the one hand you call that kind of person a bee haver, yet you say that just sitting in a chair and looking at your bees is enough, it's kind of contradictory. Like, I haven't seen any really good bee work done on that channel. So going back to, I guess the bee man's significant other, I would think. Time is honey. Wait, you want them to like you so bad? I'm worried. Oh, you don't have to worry about me. I'm good. Let me see. Yeah, so he sent. I'll share the screen just so you can see the number of email. Oh wait, hold on. Let me see if I can do this right. Just to so you know I'm not just making this shit up. Let's see, window. Oh, Chrome tab. Hopefully I don't. Let me make sure I'm not exposing any good any information. Oh no. Yeah, I won't be exposing anything. So here it is. Here's all the emails that I got from Time is Honey. All these, all the way down, up and down. I'm just talking dumb shit every time. And one of those is just from the day before yesterday, well after the video where I said, don't email me, I'll leave him alone if he stops emailing me, but he did, so he wants more. Yeah, putting bananas in your connies, I'm seeing that a lot too. It's dumb. I don't know. They don't need it. Will they eat it? Yeah, you could put a piece of dog shit in a beehive. They're gonna make it disappear. Are they eating it? I don't think so. Have I gained weight? Here we go. Probably. I eat a lot. I'm a healthy eater. I do gain a little weight in my face, and I did shave. For some reason, when I shave, my face kind of swells up a little bit, but I'm sure I'm still much better looking than you. But you can fat shame me. I'm kind of. You wouldn't say that to me, trust me. So let's look at this. I'm not even going to show the whole video again. Once again, I can't. Don't want to show the whole video. It's just such a bunch of garbage. Let's see if I can share the screen again. Because here's my question. Just like it says on my thumbnail. I want to know where them bees are at. That's what I want to know. Where are them bees? Hopefully they're in the box. I mean, let me make this big here. I'm going to scroll through. He just yaks. I guess I don't know if he went live and nobody showed up or what, but talking, blah, blah, blah. Let's get to the front of this beehive. I'm scrolling. Hold on. Farting around over here. Okay, here we go. Let's just see what's going on. So, Rich, I know you're in here watching. You can send me more drunk emails if you want. It's cool. But let's just play this little part.
Everything lined up in there, getting all the wax, getting all the comb attached.
Okay.
So I'm happy to see that on that. I mean,
let's investigate what's going on here. We got the front of a hive here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got like 8 or 9 bees just sitting there, just totally. I don't know what's the word for it. Demoralized is what you call it. That's the word you use. Kind of like the bee man here. The bee man is demoralized. I don't know what's up with this guy. But it's Texas there. It's not even like here. It's got to be hot. Got to be warm. You should have a ton of traffic going in and out there. How did that plastic nuke on the hot porch turn out? It didn't turn. It turned out all right. It turned out up in the trees somewhere and did. But let's just hear this guy's explanation. He's a beekeeper.
On that part. But where the ants have been coming in is right here. I gotta seal this up today.
That's not. That's the least of your problems right now.
Get it in there and get it sealed up so the ants can't get in because they were coming in right here real bad.
Yeah.
So it's like some of the girls didn't go in last night, but this is what they're doing. And so yeah, so far the first problem is ants. Lots of
No,
them.
that's not the first
And
problem.
one thing was my mentor was telling me about is, it's not a bad idea to leave a bee for the time being, since we just went in there and just completely destroyed their house and relocated them.
Here we go.
Stressing them out. Hell yeah, big time. I mean, think of yourself getting up and think of somebody coming in, picking up your house all of a sudden and just moving you without even telling you. Put yourself in their situation.
Here we go. That's problem number one with beekeepers. Not even all new beekeepers, a lot of experienced beekeepers. Problem number one, trying to think that bees and people are the same and that everything you do to bees, the bees feel the way that a human would feel about it. It's dumb. Stop doing it. There's no other words for it. Bees aren't people. People aren't bees. You can't think the way a bee thinks. Your bees don't like you. They don't love you. They don't know you. They wouldn't care about if you disappeared. So stop thinking your bees give a shit, and you can't be a bee. Hopefully, let's see if there's one more clip of this removal here. I wouldn't show it again, but I don't remember if he does. He's pointing around. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Hold on. Okay, right here. Let's play this.
They're cleaning the house real good. They are cleaning house.
Cleaning house real good. Okay, I got somebody in the
Saw them kicking out a lot of drones yesterday
here.
too. That was kind of part of the life cycle. They're all down there.
All right. Well, I think that's all I need to watch of that.
I watched one drone fall out yesterday.
But I have my first guest coming up, showing the face and everything. Galloway Lights is in the house. Let's see what happens.
I'm drawn between two people. On one side, you. On the other side, I have the good guy, the bad guy. It's great.
Where's the good guy?
Oh man,
so
I actually like your website because it has that side of me that interdwells, that vengeance, that the insight, the thought, the thinking, and trying to fix everybody. I like it. But
the website, you mean my
no. Your chats, your conversation. Yeah, but my wife tells me not to watch it too much because the real me starts to come out. She says, "Turn that off. You don't need more ideas."
turn my channel off.
Yes, I love it. It's kind of like watching the news on TV. You watch the boring stuff. It's like, yeah, pretty dresses and fancy this, and then it's like, yeah, all this fake world stuff. But when you get into the real stuff, it's like, that's really what the world's about. It's just like,
well, to me, I mean, I watch these other videos, these other live streams, these cream streams or whatever you want to call it. It has to be tiring to be so fake for so long, consistently, to never have any type of thought, that just doesn't go along with everything. It's exhausting just to watch. I couldn't imagine being in the place of some of these people. That's just
I know that you're coming from. My father was actually a pastor of a church when he was alive back before September 1st of this year. And I was raised as a PK, a pastor's kid, a missionary's kid. And when you're in a congregation full of all these Christian people that have these, like, this is the perfect way that you're supposed to live attitude, and they actually try and push that on you. Every time you're around, it's like, you shouldn't be saying that. You shouldn't talk like that. It is crazy. And believe it or not, my dad had the same feeling. It's like these people all tell you what to preach on, how to preach, what's the subject, what did God really have to say about that? What was the, it's like, what? If you're not strong enough, you become very like, I think these Christians are crazy. It's
well, I mean, I don't want to turn it to, I mean, I do have another channel that I'd like to do more philosophy type conversations, about different religions. To me, they're all the same. I don't care about Christianity or any of them really. They're all the same to me. But that is a good analogy for a lot of
that face
a lot of this stuff.
Look one way and make everybody happy because you're afraid of losing your sponsors, your free stuff, and I totally get it.
And on that note, I did see something come up in my feed. There was a channel that I never heard of, so I was like, oh, let me go watch this video. They're giving something away. I even enter giveaways where I know they're not going to give it to me, but I was like, let me just see what they're talking about. And they said they were giving away something. Oh, they were giving away this Apis Biologics snake oil stuff they're selling. So I was like, oh, cool. I mean, maybe I'll win this, and like it'll be a cool video where I drink it or something. But
I was gonna say, if you had some, would you like try it to prove them wrong or prove them right?
No, I mean, there's nothing. I don't think it probably hurts anything. I just think that I don't really. It's just who needs it? Who needs it? I mean, we've been doing it for so long without any of this crap. There's plenty of other things. What the funny part to me was how behind it everybody got, like the sellers of it. They got behind it so strong after a couple weeks of. And what can you tell? I don't know what you can tell. I have another person down in the thing here.
It's kind of like an adrenaline rush. You get hooked into the flow of the train. It's like I gotta jump. It's like Hive Alive last year. Everybody's jumping on that. It's like I gotta put the package on the top of my hive. It's the newest rush.
Well, oh yeah. So back to that religion thing. So I watched this video where they were giving it away, and then it turned out that the only way you can enter is you have to talk about your favorite Bible verse or your favorite something. I was like, oh man, if I say anything, I'm definitely not going to get entered. But yeah, they're even pushing it like not only just subliminally, all these weird Christian ways of talking about bees, but like blatantly, But I mean, it's the freedom of speech. You can do that. I could have a giveaway where you have to, blaspheme if I wanted to, but it was just funny. Like I lost interest in that channel, that video, whatever. It's free to do what you want. I got Sweeney's Creek down here. I'm gonna pop him in for a minute. See.
Is that gonna be your second one on?
Yeah. There'll be. I don't know if I've had more than two people on, more than one.
You should be able to get 10.
Yep. All right. How you doing there? From
hey,
Australia?
Bruce, how's it going, mate?
What's up? What do you think of our conversation so far? Any good insight here?
Oh, I just popped in on the tail end of it there, so I haven't heard the whole thing. So I'm actually sort of at my lunch break at work, and saw you were live, and I thought I'd jump in and break the good news to you. Sweeney's Creek Farm, we're now beekeepers. We've got our own hives.
Oh, cool.
How'd you get them?
Yeah. So we bought two boxes with colonies already inside them, and relocated them onto the property. And then 2 weeks ago, I was able to go out with my father-in-law, and we collected a swarm because we're a month into spring technically here, although you wouldn't know with the bloody weather. And there's bee swarming season here, so they're really starting to take off. It's just starting to warm up a bit now.
So you're like 160 of what we're at.
Yeah.
So we should move there during the winter.
Yeah, well, this time of year is as I said, we're a month into spring, but we've had a really exceptionally wet and cold spring so far, and we've got potentially another 3 inches of rain coming on Thursday, which is just absolutely unheard of at this time of year. But there it is. But I was just going to show you one of the main sources for our bees here are eucalypt trees. And so we can just see that the Yukis are just starting to bud up, and the flowers are getting ready to bloom. And that's a major source of nectar here for our bee industry. My particular favourite type of honey comes from what's called a yellow box eucalypt, and it's a really mild, sweet honey. So it's that time of year where they're starting to swarm, and the flowers are starting to come out and going berserk.
Now, how high do those trees get?
Some of them will get up to, now I've got to convert to meters. Meters.
We're
probably
inches.
looking at,
Oh.
look, a big eucalypt will get 60, 70, 80 feet.
Wow.
In some places, well, I can see my Ford Ranger is over there, and you can see the size of the trees there. So most of our native forests are eucalypts. So spotted gum, yellow box, ironbark. There's mallee as well. So there's a whole 100 different species of eucalypt, and the bees around here love it.
They got a small stumpy trunk and lots of branches. It looks like.
Yeah, let me see if I can. Where's the settings? Bit harder when I'm in the sunshine. Settings, camera. We'll see if I can swap point. If I can point it backwards, I can show you a bit better. There we go. So yeah, this is one species. I think that's a spotted gum. As you can see, they go a fair way up. You get all sorts of interesting leaves and things on them.
What the heck?
I'm not the botanist, but then you get a lot of native, lower sort of intermediate bushes as well. So we get a lot of tea trees or and grevilleas and things like that. They the bottle brushes, the bees absolutely love those. But I'll just show you. Well, there's a good gum tree just going up and up and up to there.
The flowers are all the way atop there. Holy cow!
Yeah, and they'll flower like all the way up to the top. And a lot of beekeepers will move their hives out into close proximity of state native forest and pick up some good stuff.
They're making like a berry.
Hey, God. Well, what's the status over there with that mite movement around your island over there, your country?
The varroa mite.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had an outbreak up in New South Wales. So basically, our biosecurity, we have a series of sacrificial hives, and they're around the ports of the major ports, particularly Brisbane, Sydney, and Melbourne. They're on the east coast. That's where most of our shipping comes in. So they would detect it was detected in the sacrificial hives run by the Department of Ag outside of Sydney. And so far, they've been able to contain it through quarantining that area and banning any importation of queens or any sort of bee product from that area. So New South Wales is basically shut off at the moment. We're expecting an update in 4 to 6 weeks, and they're pretty confident they've actually got it and been able to eradicate it, which will be the first time ever.
Is burning their only way to get rid of them?
At this stage, yeah.
Wait, did I miss it? Did I miss that last part? Hold on a second. You said just back up like one sentence. It's hard for me. You said something about they're going to eradicate them. Is that what they said?
Yeah, so the sacrificial hives are actually run by the Department of Agriculture, and they're there to be just basically a tester to see. They constantly test them to check for varroa mite, and then once they know it's there, then they shut down that area. Those hives will be destroyed, and then there'll be new ones set up in its place. And they're pretty confident that we will be able to get back to our varroa mite free status within the next month and a half, which will be the first time in the world that anyone's actually had varroa mite come in and actually deal with it and get rid of it. But we're still not out of the woods, and at the moment it's just in one little area of New South Wales. But yeah, if it gets down to where I am, it's going to be an absolute shitstorm.
Do they have like a no bee zone after that wall of sacrificial bees?
To a degree, and there's always the issue of drones flying off and transporting the mite through, and workers taking it out as they go foraging. So there's constant requirement for testing in that area at the moment. So basically, every beekeeper in New South Wales is doing regular tests on all of their hives, and so far it's only been found in the sacrificial hives run by the department in the quarantine zone, which is good news so far.
How are they testing for the mites?
There's a varroa mite test that you can do. I'm not exactly. I've only been in it 8 weeks so far, but there's a kit you can buy, and they go through and they inspect and detect. We've got some scientists at the moment who are working on a varroa mite pesticide, specifically just targeting that particular little insect, and we'll see how that goes.
Is that inside the hive or outside?
Don't let me spoiler alert, it's not going to work.
Yeah, look, yeah. And I'd be surprised if it does, but no harm in them trying to do their best they can.
Yeah, there is. They can make it worse. They can make your bees even more helpless than they are right now. But I mean, we have mites. We've had them here forever, and I do just fine with having a ton of mites. So you guys have to go through what we went through. I mean, it looks like they're doing it all wrong. From my friend Anita sent me some of the emails going around from the Department of Agriculture out there, sending them to all the beekeepers and they're kind of a joke. Like, they're really just going to flop. They're going to just cause a bunch of people to burn a ton of bees, and they're going to have mites. It's never going to go away. And even let's say they do, within the next couple of years, they're just going to be right back. So it's just not happening. So just, enjoy keeping bees, have fun.
Yeah. Look, and my philosophy is this: if we can keep it out, then fine, keep it out. This is about the third outbreak, or second outbreak. Sorry, there was one in Victoria that didn't get too far away. If we can keep it out, fine. If we can't, we're just going to have to live with it. Learn to live with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal to me. I mean, I don't know. And to thousands of other people, it's just not a big deal. We just catch our bees, keep our bees, enjoy it. Once you start parsing it so far that you're like just doing all kinds of wacky stuff that doesn't have anything to do with bees, well, then you're screwed. Then you're just like 80% of beekeepers in America not really having a great time, crying themselves to sleep in the wintertime and in the spring.
Hey, Bruce, so there's those bees over there, like German, what do you call it, Russian? What kind of bees do they have?
You talking about in my area?
No, in Australia or what?
I don't know. I have no idea. I think I don't know.
Well, we call them a European honeybee. There was one I just captured one on the screen then. So we got a lot of capeweed out at the moment. My property is just covered in this stuff, and they love this stuff. It's really high in pollen. They're all coming back with. There's actually a native bee just there flying around. I don't know if you can see that.
That's a cool flower there. Hey, can I have some seeds from that flower? That looks pretty nice. It looks like a little
dandelion.
There's a native. That's actually a native bee there, not an introduced one.
Like
so that's not the honey producer?
Native bees are stingless, and they're not great honey producers. There's what we got. So that's a standard honey bee.
That looks like kind of a daisy that we have here. Maybe like
daisy, capeweed, dandelion. Yeah. These guys love them. My bees are just going off on we call them capeweed here, but daisies is the other word for it.
Are they a spring only flower?
Yes, yeah, and they're really cool. They close up at night time, and then when the sun comes out, then they open up again. And you can see this guy's going to town on it.
You're gonna save me some seeds from that thing.
Are they a deep root like or dandelion is? It's almost like a carrot.
Oh well, they're basically just a weed. It's
they're root.
on the property on the farm. They're bastard stuff. I hate it, but it's good for the bees.
Are they a deep root like ours? Is dandelion's like a carrot looking shape?
Yeah. Oh well, no. These guys being a weed. Let me have a look. Ugh. So no, very
shallow.
Very shallow rooted. Yeah.
All right.
That's a nice
Here,
lead.
let me drop this link again here. I see we got a good little group of people here.
Go for the Brady Bunch.
Well, I'm not doing that. I mean, I only want to have no more than 2 people in here at a time.
Now, while I'm here too, I was just going to show you the area I'm in here. It's a native reserve in between residential blocks. It's actually Aboriginal land that's been rehabilitated. It's called the Frog Ponds. It's like an Aboriginal waterhole for native animals and things. And this here is what we call a yarning circle. So this is an Aboriginal meeting place where they have a fire pit in the middle, and then people can sit around the outside, and fire and smoke and yarning and talking is very critical to Aboriginal culture. And my workplace just had a meeting here before. I'm just here packing up the fire pit and getting everything out of the way. But
I know a lot of my viewers do a lot of yawning while they're watching my videos. Is that what they do?
No, not yawning, yarning.
All right.
So
cool.
yeah, little bit of Aussie in your feed.
Now we have some extra Aussie in here. We got Anita
Oh.
from Flower Folk Farms saying hi to Steve. What's up?
Yeah, no, she runs a great channel as well. Yeah, because you know what it is when you get a group of Aussies together. It's called a conviction of Aussies.
Oh yeah, makes sense. And
Yeah.
we got Barbara Simmons here. She says Gazania for the flower, which actually I was trying to think of that name, and that kind of looks like what we would call it over here, or Gazania.
Yeah.
It looks like something they would sell in flower pots here, like as a fancy little flower. I like it.
Well, my 20 acres is covered in the stuff, and my 3 beehives, the bees are just going absolutely nuts on it. They're all coming back with yellow legs, and they're doing really well.
Videos? Did you make any bee videos at all?
I've got 2 bee videos on Sweeney's Creek. So one when we got the hives, and the other one when we set them up on the property. And I've got some footage of an inspection I did, but the wind noise I thought was pretty bad. But I had another look at it last night, and I think it's tolerable. So I'm going to put that one together and get it on. But everything I do in the beehives, I'm going to film and put on the channel. And just because I haven't got enough to do, I've also just launched another YouTube channel. It's for the beekeeper group here in my town of Bendigo. So if you're looking for another up-and-coming channel, we're looking for subs, and we're going to get as much video on there as we can.
Over here, if you're making bee videos, that's great. Do it, but just like focus on what you're doing, not on the audience, and not too much.
Yeah, well,
be a student. Don't be a teacher in your first year like a lot of these clowns on here.
That's me.
Absolutely. So my aim on the Sweeney's Creek one is to just basically record everything I do, right and wrong, and learn and help learn from it, and document it and have it there. And then the other channel I've got is the Bendigo Beekeepers, or the Bendigo branch of the VAA. And on there, they have guest speakers that come in each to meetings each month. So I'm going to record each guest speaker and have a video log there of people, supposed experts and things and whatever. And a few of the guys also who have been in the industry for 20, 30 years, they want to do little tutorials on how to do a hive inspection and how to spin honey and do all that sort of stuff. So we're going to make it as a bit of a teaching tool, but I'm just going to be the filmer. I'm definitely not going to be the presenter on that. I know that much.
All righty, cool. Thanks for stopping in, Steve.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look at some other videos and give my 2 cents. Should be fun.
Yeah, for sure. But I've been watching your channel for quite a while, and I like your philosophy on keeping it simple, and I'm going to try and do the same thing with my hives.
Thank you. All right, I'll be watching along.
Lovely. All right, have a great evening, night, morning, afternoon.
It's late at night here. I'm normally in bed by now. It's 10:39 p.m.
I've just realised I haven't had lunch yet, so I'm going to get some lunch.
All right.
Might go get a kangaroo burger, eh?
Yeah, right. I'll jump on that one.
Yeah. I'll catch you later.
See ya.
Oh, man.
Okay.
So, Bruce, how far do you draw your public from?
What do you mean by that?
your viewing public? How far do you draw out?
I mean, how much further can you get than Australia? I guess. I mean, there's that I know of. You know, we got Anita, Steve. Um, somebody had a. I love this stirring up the pot shit, but the clown that's in here all the time. Where did that comment go? Where is it? Something about. Oh yeah. Did it disappear? Where is it? Okay, the B man wants to know if you show your face, if you're gonna show your face on other chats. What does that mean? Like, I haven't seen your face before. I think I've seen it on one video here and there, but what the hell is he talking about?
Yeah, I was actually on Walker B Ranch. That was the first one.
And he said, he said, better watch out, Bruce. He talks bad about you to Bob Walcat. I wouldn't. That wouldn't even bother me if someone talked shit about me to that guy. I mean, so what? I mean, who knows why they would do that? But I haven't noticed you talking any shit. I know that there were some people in the past who did talk a lot of shit on me, but once they got to know me, they kind of fell back. You know, they didn't really do that so much because I think just the shit exposes itself.
It kind of builds you up too, because the more you learn about yourself, the more you decide whether you like yourself the way you're portrayed, or do you want to modify it? Because it builds character. I mean, you like what you see or hear about. It's like you go with it. Other things you're like, I didn't really want to look like that, so you change it.
Yeah. I mean, I've changed my opinion about people. There's people that I didn't like, who I kind of like now, and it goes both ways. There's some people that, man, I used to get along with great, and now I don't. Just the sight of them just makes my hair stand up. People change, I guess. You can change.
Is the hair standing up because it's the ideas are like beyond what you're comfortable with?
You mean when I see people that I can't, that I just...
Yeah, the one that makes your hair stand up. Is it because those ideas are like way off the wall?
It's because I know who these people really are from back when we used to get along. Now I see them on YouTube and I know they're just being fake the entire time. I know them, like, I know how they really are, from back in their early days. And some have had some good success. Good for them. But we know how you really are. Like, we know how they really are. Let me see what else is going on up here. We got Rodney Middleton was in the house. I don't know. I know he's got a little one there he's got to take care of. Probably popped in for a minute. It looks like David Blagg caught as many swarms as I did using traps. That's something right there.
Is that like a baited?
Yeah, using swarm traps. I caught 80 swarms. He caught, but I would say 70 of those were not in traps. They were all just people calling me because everybody knows who I am. So I just went and got them. Trapping is much harder than the way I do it, but I still caught some in traps.
You do like propless and that kind of thing, the old frames to try and get them going?
You've never done swarm trapping?
I tried to trap. It was just an empty box. I was wishful thinking. I figured if the bees go in there, my wife will just have to put up with it, because I had a lot of no beekeeper attitude around here. And eventually I just got so fed up with the attitude. I said, you know what? I'm just going to buy bees. It was like years I've been putting up with this. It's like one excuse after another. Oh, they sting. Oh, they're going to bother the neighbors. Oh, it's illegal. And I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm sick of this. They're not going to hurt you. Put them in the box.
Those reasons were coming from you or from someone?
From everybody around me, including my own family. It's like, yo, get over it. It's a bee.
Well, I mean, swarm trapping, I mean, I think you should definitely prepare for it this winter. Get ready for it. I don't know how many colonies you have, but it really doesn't matter, because if you lose a few or if a couple don't make it, you got to get into swarm trapping. You can't be buying bees. Like, it's the biggest joke. It's the biggest scam there is in any hobby. But and it's really easy. So yeah, as you were saying, you do need a box. I guess what you set out was just an empty box, it's never been used. Yeah, the chances
Wishful
of
thinking. I had no idea, and I was like, if they come in, great.
right. Well, here, look, we got Rodney Middleton here, and Rodney Middleton, who I never liked. You should watch how he does it too. He caught a ton of swarms and traps. He was like way ahead of me at the beginning. He had like 23 swarms and traps before I even caught like 2. And the way me and Rodney do it, you take your standard box. I mean, there's a billion videos. I didn't make it up, but you take a good size box, either a 10 frame box or 2 nukes. You stack them on top of each other. Take one of your old brown frames, stick it in there, spray some swarm lure in there. There's a million different kinds. The big, most popular one doesn't endorse my channel, so I'm not saying the name, but let's just say it rhymes with, it has swarm in the first name. But yeah, get that stuff. I mean, make sure you get the real stuff. Don't get the fake knockoff that has the same label and everything. You can really get the fake stuff by accident.
Now, you don't get the slime out in those frames? I also heard that can be a problem.
No, not in the springtime.
They get the moths in there?
No, not in the spring. You just want the frame to be, it's a very important part of setting up your swarm trap, your bait hive. You need a brown comb, and it can have nothing in it, no pollen and no honey. If it has pollen in it, yeah, you might get wax moths, but what state are you in?
Jersey. South Jersey.
Yeah, you're by me. So you're not going to have wax moths in April and May with just one frame hanging in there. You're not going to have wax moths. You won't get beetles in an unoccupied hive with just one drawn brown comb. That's it. Yeah, so then the rest of the frames, you want to have those. For me, I like them foundationless, because if you have one nice old comb and then a bunch of plastic walls in there, you can still catch a swarm that way. I've seen people catch them that way.
Undrawn plastic?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people do. I'm not recommending that. I'm recommending foundationless frames with just a starter strip at the top. All you do is take your plastic foundation, cut it into 3 equal pieces, and use one of those thirds at the top of your frames.
That gives them that empty space feeling?
Yeah, they need all that empty space in there so they can buzz around a little bit and try to set up, at least 10. Now, it sounds like a lot, but you don't even have to use your own hive. You can use other things. I have a couple of videos about it. But yeah, it's so easy. And that first time when you catch that first swarm, I'm telling you, you're going to be, the feeling you get when you go to check your swarm trap and you see all that activity busting in and out of there, and they're free bees, and they could be survivor bees from some feral colony. It's like the best feeling ever, and it never gets old. So
I just found out this week that in Florida it's illegal to do that.
I've heard a lot of things about Florida and Texas, where they say in Florida you're not allowed to keep swarms, or at least you have to requeen them right away.
Yep.
Yeah, but
it's like crazy.
But I mean, there's plenty of beekeepers in Florida that are not doing that. They're catching their swarms, they're keeping them just the way we would, and if they happen to be really hot and defensive, then they requeen them. And that's
almost like the commercialism is like trying to sell stuff to you all the time.
Yeah, it's strange. It's like, and how do they know? How do they know that you're requeen? They can't tell. I'm not going to let somebody tell me. No, not doing it. But here, and even David Blagg. Yeah, the wax moths in swarm traps. I've never had wax moths in a swarm trap. Like, it's just never. Later
the key
on,
is no pollen and no honey.
Yeah, you want no pollen in there. If you have honey in there, even a trace of honey, you'll attract a lot of ants in there, and it's just less likely that you'll catch a swarm. I've seen people catch swarms in things that break all the rules. Even I did it one time. I had a box of wet, sticky frames that I sat in one of my other yards just to be cleaned out. And when I went back to get it a couple days later, a swarm moved in. It broke every single rule. It had honey in there. Like, it was too small. There was no swarm lure in there. It was on the ground. Like, it did all kinds of things, and a swarm still moved in.
So you're saying the height is not a critical thing? You're saying the height of the trap is not the critical thing?
Oh no, well no, it's good to get them up off the ground because you have less chance of mice or ants going in there, but you definitely don't need to put them up 15, 20 feet.
Yeah, that's why I see them on ladders, like dangling and yeah,
man.
right.
7, 8 feet where you can just step up onto a little step ladder, or a little stool or something. You're good. They don't have to be up that high. Let me see. Anita's saying, "Can't wait to get my first swarm trap." I hope you watch my playlist, and it's really, I mean, there's only a few rules. It's got to be the right size. It's got to have the right stuff in it, and you got to make a good number of them because
shade or sun.
Oh, shade definitely. Shade definitely put in the shade. I mean, a little bit of dappled sun isn't going to hurt anything, but yeah, shade is definitely the best in my experience.
Now, is there southeast, north, or west?
Oh, and see, now that I ain't worried about that. Don't worry about that. Just put it in the shade somewhere. If you know people that have like deer stands, or if you have deer stands,
yes,
that's the best.
I'll get my buddy. I'll stick it on his stand, and we'll wake up the next time and what the heck is this up here?
Yeah, I mean, you still have to climb up there, but I've seen just a lot of people use those, and they work great. Or balconies. Any of my friends that had balconies like years ago, I used to put swarm traps just on the balcony in the corner, right under the railing, so that it was just right there in the corner. And I caught bees that way a lot of times.
Wow.
So let's see. Barbara must have looked up the flower. Archatheta calendula. Okay, yeah, it definitely looks like it's in the calendula family. Rodney Middleton, he's sticking to the foundation. He wants it on the outside.
What do you mean?
Can. I try not to use foundation, but it definitely does.
So it's just hollow in the center?
Yeah, I mean, if you put on the outsides, I can see how that would still follow. That would still follow the rules because they're just not going to feel that last.
So you have like 4 frames in there, and like a 10 frame.
Well, no, you want to always have however many frames your box was made for in that box. So in Ronnie's case, he would have in spot 1 a foundation, and then 2 through 8 he would have foundationless frames with starter strips. Then probably his drawn old comb, and then another foundation.
We want the old stuff toward the back.
I like to put it off to one side. It probably doesn't matter. It probably doesn't matter at all. But I don't like to put it right against the wall because I just want to leave a little gap there in case something wanted to nest in there, or wax moths or anything. But I think it really doesn't matter. I really don't think it matters where you put the comb, as long as it's clean, dry. There's nothing in it,
and they really draw the comb first.
Well, in my swarm traps, they will cover that old comb, and they'll start drawing right next to it.
So they really like the new stuff.
They
really like the new stuff,
especially on foundationless frames. They'll draw beautiful, perfect white combs starting right next to that frame. It's just, there's a million videos. I gotta pull up my videos. And look at Ronnie's. Ronnie's got search up Ronnie Middleton, look up one of his videos where he's like transferring a swarm to a box, and you'll see how they build. You got to get into it. Let me see. So David Blagg is saying he sets up his traps high so people don't mess with it. I mean, that's one good reason. Is vandalism an issue? Well, funny story. Probably one of my first years of beekeeping and swarm trapping, I found there was a trail going down by one of the colleges around here. Really nice trail. I was seeing bees everywhere, so I put a swarm trap. I thought I hit it really well, and I put it maybe 8 feet up in a tree, but not right on the trail. And I came back a couple weeks later to check it, and that thing was smashed into a million pieces. Somebody threw paint on it and everything. That happened to me one time. So I don't put traps in very visible places anymore. I like to put them at people's houses, friends' houses, stuff like that. All right, cool. Anita's watching the swarm trap videos. Yeah, it depends where you put it. Okay. So Ronnie puts the old comb in the middle. And yeah, I don't think it matters. I just like it off to one side. You know, everybody has their own way of doing it, but probably doesn't matter. And just as yeah, you can see from Ronnie's videos too, they want that foundationless, those foundationless starter strips to start their comb.
Good to know.
Yeah, you can. Trying to think of how we could do it. Yeah, like once you get all your stuff you need. I mean, you can also use styrofoam shipping boxes work good. Cardboard boxes.
So they don't have to be old, smelly frame boxes, I guess.
No, it doesn't have to be. When you use something like an alternative, then you're going to need that old frame. Definitely, you'll need the old frame and the swarm lure. If you have old boxes, like really old propolized boxes, you really don't need to do anything. Though the bees will often go in there regardless.
What if you took like a newer box and took propolis, like a tincture, and coated the heck of everything inside?
I've seen people do it. It's too much
work. Are they worth it or not?
I think it works. I think I've never done it, so I can't speak about that. But
I know I did on foundation plastic, and I don't know, maybe I wasn't drawing mode for the bees, but they just didn't really jump on it.
You're talking about a plastic frame?
Yeah, I coated it with propolis tincture to
yeah.
see if it would do anything.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't. I mean, tincture is usually alcohol-based, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
Did you put it in there while it was still wet with alcohol, or?
Yeah, let the alcohol dry out to give it like that sticky propolis feeling on it, thinking I'm a newbie. I do all kinds of stupid stuff, you know?
No, I mean, it's not stupid. I mean, you try stuff. I think to me, one thing about propolis is, for me, it seems like it's like putting the brakes on something. Once they put propolis on something, they're not putting wax on that thing. Like they use that for filling gaps, and sometimes on the edge of frames too, on the edge of cells. But if you use one of these frames that has drawn cells with propolis on the edge, they just don't pull it out any further. It's almost like a just stopping point. So I think if you coated it with propolis, it's just going to be, to them, they're going to look at it as just a wall, just a flat wall, and they won't draw on it.
Well, do that with your name. I'm going to put on my waxed foundation. I'll draw your name in propolis and see if it shows up as a non-waxed spot. That'd be sweet.
That's a good idea. I mean, to me, what I said was just kind of like, seems like an observation. So that
would be a proof on the pad.
You don't have to put my name. You could put your own name, but
Oh, you gave me the idea, so
that would be fun. Yeah, remember that.
That would be sweet.
To me, it's like the break. Yeah, I've never seen. Sometimes when I have like burr comb or little attachments, I'll scrape them off and I'll smash them onto the frame, and they usually just reshape it. But any of the places where I've smashed propolis by accident, they drew right around it. They cleaned it perfectly to where it's just a spot. So yeah, that would look cool.
Well, that's probably an answer why I took some of my what they call it, burr stuff that you collect when you're just cleaning off frames, and I melted it down and dabbed it on one of the frames. It's in one of the videos, and they didn't seem to draw that out any quicker than anything else either. So maybe it's got too much propolis mixed in with it. All the burr stuff.
Let me see. And also depends.
Slum gum. There you go.
Yeah, slum gum is definitely good for swarm traps. If you use some of the trash can type traps that I've done, or the flower pot traps, then slum gum. Yeah, you warm that up till it's like peanut butter, and you smear that in there on the bottom or the sides or whatever. It doesn't matter. And I don't put frames in those. I just hang those up. When bees move in, I either leave them in there. I don't even take them out, or you can cut them out. You have to cut them out into frames, but that can be fun sometimes. Cutouts are fun during the right season. They're not fun this time of year.
I tried a trap out this summer. Did that cone of like the wire to try and so they can't go back in.
Yeah.
Oh, what a mess that was.
Well, where were they in?
They were in somebody's house, but she didn't want me to cut open her sheetrock, and the facade was all block, so she didn't want me to take them down block. So I'm not sure if they were behind the block, in between the house and the block, or if they're actually in the wall, or if they're in the ceiling, but they were coming out through the blocks.
Huh. Yeah. Here's what I usually do. I say Thanks for calling. Bye. Well, when they call you to remove bees, okay, here, I need you to get these out of here, but you can't do this, you can't do that. You got to be here at a certain time. Oh, plus you're doing it for free. It's just bye, 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 bye. Oh, well,
I
then
will
I'm
tell
going
you,
to.
as a newbie, I tried it, and I was like there every other day trying to trap them out of a new spot and another spot, and I know now exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, I've done trap outs. Sometimes if it's on a nice flat spot, it's easy, pretty easy. But like I did one for this mechanic shop. It was a cinder block wall with one little weep hole in it, and the bees were going in and out of it. There was no other entrances, and it was really easy to set up the comb, but it was like 45 minutes away. So every time I went there to check them, I had to drive there and drive back. So you're talking about 10 trips to make sure the cone was clear. I had to take the box down a few times because it was full of bees. I got a ton of bees out of there. I don't think I got the queen. No, because I kept giving them frames of eggs, and they just kept raising queens every box I put up there. And then after spending all those weeks of going back and forth, they wouldn't pay me. They just stiffed me. I kept calling like, dude, we agreed on a payment, and he just wouldn't pay me. And it was a mess. So I learned that. I mean, that's two different lessons in the same thing, but yeah.
I think I had finally success when I had the cone inside the box, because it seemed like maybe they were trapped out and they hang around near the cone, and they started actually building comb and pollen and all that stuff inside the box. And then later on, I made it where they couldn't get back and forth, because apparently they were still getting back and forth a little bit. But that kind of helped me, because I had the cone originally on the outside of the box and then had a tube into the box. But when I actually had the cone in the box and the tube to the box on the outside, that seemed to be the best. It started something actually started to happen. But
yeah, the key is you can't let any of them back in. If any of them get back in, you're like doing nothing.
Yep.
And you almost, since it's a home, you can't really smoke them out or try to.
I tried that.
You don't want to be smoking up somebody's whole house or burning it down. Oh no, I keep smoking.
What the heck is this smell? I was like, well,
no, don't do it, man. Go for the easy ones for at least the first couple of years. Like set up especially in Jersey, there's a ton of beekeepers down there. You should have swarms hanging in trees everywhere in the spring. You should just
never seen one.
Yeah, you're not going to see them. You need to depend on the people seeing them and then calling you, and they got to know who to call. But yeah, so you set up a little website, put your name on there, number, boom, everybody calls you to get swarms. Do the easy ones first, and then learn from somebody who knows what they're doing for those trap outs and cutouts, because I avoid those. I pass those on to other people. So let me just quickly say, Kelly Honey Alexander says about using lemongrass essential oil. Lemongrass oil is definitely a really good swarm lure. It's a really good one. You just got to make sure you get the real stuff. Don't get any fake lemongrass oil. There's a lot of fake stuff out there.
I got mine from like the Eckerd Drugs, and they didn't seem to like that.
No, I got some from Walmart one year, and did not catch a single swarm with it.
I think they were like attacking me. I had it on my gloves because it got all over everything, and they were like attacking the heck out of me.
You got to make sure you get it from a real reputable essential oil maker. Or you can just go with the expensive stuff. The name we won't mention on this live stream. Let's see what these guys are saying. You don't have to rub the trap with some gum. Well, for some people, they don't have combs. Like if it's their first, I mean, my guest has some combs, so probably has some hives, probably might have comb. But sometimes if there's a new person who doesn't have any bees and they want to start by trapping swarms, they can usually ask a beekeeper for some gum, and that'll work. I've given that to people who didn't have frames. I've given people frames too, but
I heard you can't transport frames across some state lines.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that. I've never taken bees to another state.
Well, I went down to Delaware, and my wife, I was going to go get, I don't know if you saw it, I was going to go look at that rocket hive that they had over at Bohemian Bees. And my wife's like, no, that's illegal.
Wait, what were you taking over there?
I was gonna get his rocket hive. He has an experimental hive that he had that's like on an angle. It's kind of like a fallen over tree.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's like a soffit. It's like a pitched roof kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, on an angle. And my wife's on the internet. She's like, "No, you can't do that. It's illegal. You can't bring things across the border."
No, you can take equipment, probably unused equipment.
Yeah, it can't be used.
There's probably some law. There's so many laws. We break so many laws every single day just after we wake up that we don't even know about. It's about, are they going to enforce them?
Yeah. Well, you could put it on YouTube. It's like everybody and their grandma's watching you.
Barbara Simmons. That's a funny joke. That would be a funny thing to do. But actually, if I remember correctly.
In a hole? What? I didn't see that.
The trap out that I did at the mechanics cinder block wall, I ended up never going back to get my cone down. So it's probably still up there. There's probably still a cone, metal, screen cone over that hole. So I don't think anything can move in. Unfortunately.
Oh, she said put the swarm commander in after you got no payment?
Yeah. To track them back in.
Oh, gee.
So Ronnie uses a FLIR for cutouts. Yeah. I really like doing easy cutouts, but it's weird. Like you watch these bee removal channels. Some of them are definitely in tight spots, but
what's an easy cutout to you? Sheetrock?
No, an easy cutout is just like using a pry bar or a hammer to just pry out some nails off of the outside of a barn, take some plywood off, and there they are. Just right there. You stand on the ground.
How to what extent do you remove all the comb?
Me?
Yeah. How far do you go to scraping it down to the bare wood, or just?
Yeah, I mean, you can scrape it. If there's a bunch of nails and everything, you can't get it all. You're just gonna keep hitting nails everywhere. But yeah, I take it all out, and then I coat the inside with a bunch of bee repellent. But I don't do repairs. I'm not a carpenter. Everybody knows that if they call me.
I'm just wondering about the smell that lingers. Is it?
Yeah, it will linger. So whoever does, I tell them, whoever does your repairs, they can ask me. They need to really fill in that cavity tight. Fill it in thick and tight so there's no space. So you're going to still have bees coming to check it out, but they can't get in. But some of these houses,
you could be like a heat gun and absorb the wax after it kind of softens.
No, I don't do anything like that. No, most of the removals that I do, I won't even do removals on an actual house that people live in. I mostly will do them from barns and just structures or trees that fall down. Most of those, not
less liability.
All of them. There's no need for repairs, and they're going to be junked anyway. So there's nothing to really worry about. When it's a home that people are living in, it has to be done right, and I don't do that stuff. So I call it one of my buddies, and they usually do it. They do good work.
Not economically feasible.
Yeah, it's not, because there are some beekeepers seeing this, so now I'm going to talk a little bit of poop on people that are actually my friends, okay?
Uh-oh!
Because I've seen some Facebook posts where some of my much more capable friends, carpentry-wise, might say something like, real beekeepers, removers do this and that, and we get up here on, 50 feet on a crane hanging from a soffit. But the thing is, I'm not that. I'm not a carpenter. I'm not a contractor. I just mess with bees. When I have to rip them out of something, it's just because that's what I have to do. I don't think not everybody can be a beekeeper and a professional carpenter or whatever the hell you call it. We can't all be that. I'd rather just spend my time gardening, mess with bees, doing all kind of other things that I do, working at my regular job. I don't really want to be 50 feet up on a lift. I don't want to do that stuff. I don't want to have a million power tools to take things apart. If it's something nearby and I'm just ripping the board off, I love doing that. But it shouldn't feel like, people who do the extremely difficult removals are somehow gods among bee removers.
It's just amazing.
Some of us just can't do it. We can't do it. I admit it. It's not like I say I'm the best bee remover, and I'm not. I'm like one of the worst. I do catch a ton of. Oh yeah, see, even Ronnie Middleton, he's on the same page. The rip out and run
And
ones.
run, yeah.
I mean, it's a freaking rotten garage that they're tearing down or whatever, some abandoned building like the one I did the other day.
It's like a 3-in-1 tool. They always say that a 3-in-1 tool does 3 things not so well. But when you have a specialized tool in each one of the 3 things, they do that very well. And it's impossible to do everything. I've tried.
Yeah. Let me see this. So Ronnie fills the void up always. Yeah, on a home, but I can't remember. It might have been 2 years ago the last time I did a removal on an actual home that someone's living in, and that was only because the homeowner was a contractor himself. Took the whole thing apart. I just walked
the
up
cake.
and there was the bees. So I just cut them really nice.
That's the way to go.
Totally helpful. I took the bees out and he slapped it all back together. Let me see. That's why doctors send someone to a surgeon.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the doctor. I'm the doctor of bees.
It's hard to do that sometimes, to say nope.
Yeah, especially when you're new. Like I remember when I first started, man, I tore somebody's whole porch apart. Like I shredded it in all kinds of ways.
Trying to find it, or
no, just I knew right where the bees were at just because they told me and they showed me where they went in, and they had just gone in there like the day before, and there's no video of it. That was before even
digital
I had a channel. But yeah, the way I took it apart, looking back now, I had to take down the kind of the roof or the ceiling of this porch where they had a light, and I just cut right through that thing and just ripped it down. And probably somebody could have done it much cleaner, but the guy was like, "I don't care what you do, get them out of here." And I got those were the second bees I've ever had, because my first were a package, my second ones were a swarm, and that swarm that just moved in.
that reminds me of my first 3-speed bicycle flat tire repair. I went back years later, and that thing was in so many pieces. I don't know why I had the handlebars off. It's like, what the heck?
David Blagg wants to know if we build our own hives. If by build you mean assemble, yeah, I assemble. I assemble my frames. I assemble my boxes. But no, I don't build them from scratch. Do you build any of your own equipment?
I am. That's kind of why I like your hands-off beekeeping, because I'm trying to save a little bit of dough as much as I can. I'd rather use my time rather than my money. I've already got enough flack from having the bees already. I don't want to hear about the checkbook. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. I do have a log colony. I mean, I like keeping bees and different stuff. I have a little. I really want to have like a brick beehive where you just kind of, because the bees live in these pillars, these brick pillars and stuff all the time.
Like that one in the middle of the lake?
Oh, you're talking about over on, what do you call that one? Ground something? Castle Ground.
Yeah, eventually got flooded because it got too low. The bees are like in this much space in a concrete hive in the middle of a lake.
Yeah, no, but I'd like to try just stacking some cinder blocks or bricks, just like shape it to the dimensions where Langstroth frames would fit into it. I mean, it's just blocks. I mean, they'll propolize it all together. I'm not gonna, put mortar in between it and everything, but I think if I could just make kind of a long hive out of cinder blocks.
You think the thermal mass would help them out?
Yeah, I'd fill the gaps in with either soil or sand or something like that. Put a nice lid on it and just let them rock. That, and also I'd like to try an underground hive one time too.
Oh, you took my idea. I already had that.
But I haven't figured out how you could keep it from flooding though. Would it have to be kind of like a plastic cavity?
Well, I actually thought, why not make a pile of dirt, and that's what I did. I have a pile of dirt now I want to use, and so it's above ground, but it's actually it's a pile, so it won't get flooded. Because exactly like you said, flooding is like the issue.
But then, what kind of structure would you have in the ground?
I was
Or
thinking,
in
like you said, the cinder block wall, so you have like a hole, so it won't fall, the dirt won't fall in. And I was thinking like some type of lifting device, and just having a box hive that you suspend in there and bring it out.
Oh, so you'd want to inspect it like at points of the year?
We have to have inspectable hives. It's
Well,
the law, so they can come on our property anytime they want and look at them.
well, yeah, I have that too. I have that same law, but
Yeah.
yeah, so you can't, yeah, you couldn't legally install bees into the ground, I guess, unless there was some way to get at them. And yeah, I mean, I guess
Give them a
that's.
shovel. They have at it.
But I watched this channel on TikTok called oh man, what the heck are they called? There's a TikTok channel. I don't know what country they're in, but
On the side of a
do.
sandbank?
Well, no, they're constantly, all the removals they do, they always start where they're at the ground and they have like a chisel and they're banging on the
Yes.
ground, and then they hit the rock, and once they pull the rock out, there's honeybees in there. In that
Yep.
area, wherever that is, these honeybees live in the ground a lot of times. So they're in these rock crevices that are
Now, is that
buried.
the native way they used to be years ago?
Honeybees?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe in that area, I don't know, but I've ne- I've never seen so many instances of honeybees being underground. I've seen where some things have been buried by accident, like maybe a gas can or something like that, or some type of metal box has been buried in the ground by accident, but it just sticks out a little bit, and then bees live in it. So that's the only time I've seen honeybees living in the ground. But over there, yeah, they're just living in all these weird rock.
The other one you see is them on these big caves hanging by ropes and stuff, suspended on the side of a cliff. And these combs are like humongous.
Yeah, and that channel does the same thing. So whatever country that is, I don't know if it's Philippines or something like that.
And did you see the ones on their like soffits of the house? They have like rows and rows on the end of the. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
No boxes.
I think that was in India somewhere. Yeah, because
no boxes. They're just out in the open.
Yeah, they just hang there, and then what they do is there's a big giant comb like that, but the honeybees, they only put the honey up in one little corner. That's how the bees do it. So all they do is cut that little piece off, and they leave the rest there. They just cut off that one little hunk, and they have like 5 pounds of honey in a block, and then the bees just rebuild it. It's so
I'm
easy.
having a heart attack. It's like, how can they survive?
Well, everybody thinks that's the first thing that we think as Americans. We think, oh my God, they need honey for winter, right? But they don't have winter over there. It's just 90 degrees all year, every day of every year. So they never need to worry about winter. Same thing with some of those ones from the Philippines or from, I forget what the other countries were, but they're in the jungle and they're finding these big hives, and they take everything. Like they take the brood, they take the honey, they take every single thing. So there's nothing left when they're done with it, but a big.
They usually have this big wad of burnable stuff that they have like burn.
Yeah, so if you look at the comments in those videos, you have all these American beekeepers going, "How do you do that? You're just taking all their stuff. What are they going to have for winter?" And it's like, you dummy, there is no winter there. It's just the bees just move right on and start all over again. Yeah, those are those giant bees. Let me see what's David Blagg saying here. David Blagg makes his own boxes. Oh wait, I don't buy boxes, only frames. The decoats hives. All right, cool. Yeah, I do know some people who build their own frames. Wow,
that's work. I do that too.
Building your own Langstroth frames with all the little nooks and
crannies. The only
thing
I did not do is the foundation. I tried to do that, making it with wax and forming it, but I ran out of wax. So, and then also people are saying that the plastic holds up better. So I'm like, oh, I was trying to do it where you don't buy a thing.
Well, if you're making foundation, you're doing way too much. Holy moly, them bees do not need foundation.
So maybe I should just stay with a wax strip.
You don't even need that. You don't even need a wax strip. You can use tongue depressors, popsicle sticks, or you don't even need that. Like a lot of times I'll use a frame, just bare frame, no nothing. It's just a built
What
frame.
makes them stay in the center
Well,
or
you
not
gotta
in between the frames?
you have to drop that frame in between two already drawn brood frames. So if you have a 10 frame box, now you can't just throw a whole bunch of those in there. But there's no problem dropping, say,
Oh.
2 of them in there. You'll see all this checkerboarding and stuff. You don't want to do that. But if you have a 10 frame box, all the frames are drawn. It's a really strong colony. In the spring, you just take out one of them center frames that's already drawn and drop that totally empty frame in there.
So you don't do 5 drawn and 5 checkerboard empty?
Never.
Oh,
dang! I would never do that. That's
Why
one of
didn't
the.
you tell me that?
Especially with like plastic found. People do it. I guess it works.
I did.
Sometimes. Yeah. No, you're gonna
It's
leave
only
them
one per box, basically, on a strong one.
Well, no, I might do 2, sometimes 2, but usually not more than that. And they have to be really strong, and it has to be early in the season. I wouldn't do that in later in the season, but yeah, you'll never see a more perfect frame than dropping that thing right in between, in the center of the brood nest. Just drop it there. People think it's not good to split up the brood nest, but it's really not. If you're using a foundationless frame, they can still get back and forth. It's when you drop a wall of plastic in between them that now they got to go all the way around the outside and underneath just to get to the other side. And
so the foundationless in the middle of the brood's no problem.
No, not 1 or 2 there, in the springtime, when they're building up and they're strong. Yeah, don't do that in summertime.
Not the plastic, because like you said, it's a wall. All right.
That's just my feeling of it. You can drop plastic in the center just like you can foundationless. You can. Especially, if it's coated, they'll draw it also. It's just I prefer not to. It's not doing the least, if you to have plastic foundation, it's not the least. You want to do the least, right? That's what I want to do.
I want to do the cheapest.
And the cheapest. I mean,
I don't want to be buying bees. I don't want to be buying foundation. I don't want to be buying squat.
Oh, cool. Check this out. Ronnie says the only foundation he uses in the honey supers anymore. And that's what I do too. I still use foundation here and there. I can never say I'm 100% foundationless yet, but honey supers definitely, if you're gonna be like a strict foundationless person, it doesn't hurt to use it in the honey. It makes honey harvesting 1,000,000 times easier.
So they don't blow out?
Well, that if you're even using an extractor, a lot of times I just scrape it off into a big filter. But
you crush it?
Yeah, well, when you scrape it off a plastic foundation, you really don't even need to crush it because it's already completely exposed.
Oh, it drains.
All areas, yeah. But
do you ever blender it up?
Put it in a blender.
Put it in like a blender or something?
No.
To help break it up?
No, I mean it breaks up pretty good. Just from smashing it, just from crushing it.
And then the wax, what do you do with that? You harvest that?
I put it in my solar wax melter and just let it filter out. I use the same bag that I use to filter the honey out. I take that whole bag and just put it right into my solar wax melter so that everything that runs out is just pure wax and everything that's junk is left in the bag.
And then what goes on the bottom is like a wax water, not a wax, a water honey like mixture on the bottom of the honey or the wax, whatever.
Yeah. The honey will be on the bottom. Sometime, a little bit. It won't be a lot. Yeah. And then the wax will float to the top. Yeah. So then when you pop it out of your little wax catcher, your container, it's gonna be all honey and sticky on the bottom. You just rinse it off. And
I'll get the slum gum.
No, the slum gum will be in the bag. It'll be in the bag. And then I just burn the bag. Just throw the bag on the fire.
Use one of those paint strainer type bags.
Yep, that's what I use for most of my honey. Not all of it. My good buddy helped me with extracting this year. I took like 3 boxes over there. A few boxes, I don't even know. We did spin out a lot of my frames, but a lot of them I just scrape and strain like that. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So about foundation, it definitely helps for honey harvesting, but it does. There's no benefit to foundation at all in your brood nest. There's none. Can't think one. Some people will say, "Oh, well, if you use foundationless, you're going to have a ton of drone comb." So what? Like, what's the big? Tell me something that's bad though, for a hobbyist beekeeper.
They don't draw it faster.
What's that?
They don't draw it faster when it's foundation.
No. Foundationless definitely draws. They draw foundationless much faster than with foundation. There's been plenty of where they run the test on YouTube. You'll see, and just in my experience, I can tell you, they always draw it faster.
Even the wax foundation.
I haven't used wax foundation in 12 years. I couldn't tell you how they draw that.
Yeah, the person I bought my bees originally from was swearing by the wax. She says, "I only use wax." So that's what I was raised with for my first year.
Well, what did you say? The person you bought bees from?
What?
You said the person that told you that was someone you bought your bees from?
Yes, that was my first bees here in Jersey.
So is that person a commercial beekeeper?
They're on the internet, but not that much. Where it's not like updated like the big guys. It's kind of like just a small and very small. I don't know. It just seems like the back hill, home type thing. Not real big and has a few things on the internet. Not a whole lot of things, and yeah, like a normal person. And she's not into the publicity stuff. It's like, all this rules and regulations. It's like, stay out of trouble is what she says. Just keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. I mean, I try not to flout too many rules. But yeah, I mean, commercial beekeepers and hobbyists do things differently. At least they should. So usually when I see a ton of these big shot beekeepers on YouTube and stuff, I don't see them using wax foundation. I see almost everybody using plastic black foundation. Like now that I think about it, I just think of these big channels and them going through their hives. Do you ever see them dropping in wired wax foundation? I don't know. I think that's more of a hobbyist kind of newbie thing that people use.
When you try and put it together in the winter, it's fragile as all get out. It's like breaking, falling apart. And then when you first put it in, if it starts to get warm and it's not straight, it starts to sag and fall. It's a mess.
Yeah, it's totally unnecessary. Yeah. If you're going to use it, you might as well use plastic and just wax it really well. But I really don't even use it.
I like your popsicle stick. It sounds easier than everything else.
Yeah, it works. It works fine. They just need something to. They don't need, if it's between two drawn brood frames, they don't need anything. They're going to go dead center because that's how the bee space works. They're going to go right down the center perfectly. If it's a swarm trap where you only have one drawn comb in there, they want to feel that ridge that they can draw along at the top of the frames. So you don't want to put frames in with nothing in them in a swarm
ridge.
trap.
You'll have a mess.
They'll go perpendicular and around in circles and everything, and it won't be good. Let's see. So Ronnie uses his Lyson solar wax melter. I have one from Brushy Mountain that doesn't even exist anymore, and it works pretty good. Why is that jumping around like that? It says strong swarm of the. Oh yeah. A strong swarm will definitely build out a 10-frame box quickly.
In a week?
Yeah.
Did he say a week?
Yep. I mean, I believe it, especially down there. I mean, even up here.
Where's down there? California?
South Carolina, I think it is.
Wow.
South Carolina. Why do I always forget where everybody's from?
Man. But, I am jealous.
Yeah, they will. They'll draw it fast. It's amazing. Yeah.
I don't know if you watched mine, but mine don't do squat.
Your bees or the swarm or
the bees? They just, it's like trying to pull strings. It's like, I don't know, 10 frames in a week. I'd be like, what?
Yeah,
no way.
it's a pretty short window for that kind of comb drawing. For here, it's only like late April through May. They're just blowing out boxes. Like,
Oh, so it's the very beginning of the season.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then,
You'll catch a swarm. Like I'll catch a big swarm, put them in a box, and then within 2 weeks they're ready to swarm themselves. They're already making queen cells and they're ready to take off again. I've had swarms swarm again. In the same spring. Yeah, he's in South Carolina. Um, are you doing feeding or anything right now? I do remember a video you had a month or so ago where you had some feed like right in front of your hives, and I was like, oh man, do I comment? Do I leave a comment and say please don't do it? I don't think I did leave a comment. I think I was just like, I hope somebody leaves a comment and says, please take that feed away from the front of your hives. So what happened?
I've even put a peppermint candy in front of mine once.
Oh, for Christ's sakes. Yeah. You took that hook, line, sinker, rod and reel, that peppermint candy.
No, I just love ideas because I'm a newbie, so I can make as many mistakes as I want right now because I have an excuse. I'll probably use that excuse forever, but I love ideas, and I'm not afraid to try it as long as it don't cost me a whole lot. And the more bees I have, the more chances of trying things. So I had one hive. I have 2 queens, one in the top, one in the bottom, with a couple of extruders, and I had some frames in between, a box in between. So I was thinking, if it has 2 queens, will it draw out faster than if it was just 1 queen on the bottom and honey super on the top? And that didn't seem to do any better. They just didn't seem to go in the middle. And I thought, well, maybe if I had, like I think Mike was saying, maybe an entrance in the middle, entrance at the top, and one at the bottom, maybe they would be able to get around the extruder. Maybe that was the problem. But then would that be stolen and robbed because it's not being monitored? There's just a lot of things. I thought, well, is there any secrets that nobody has found?
Well,
do
there's
better.
already a 2 queen system that works pretty well for some people. It's just
Side by side, right?
Yeah, you have them side by side, and they share supers on top. But yeah, I've never gotten into that. I've never had any reason to think about that. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with trying things out and them failing. Then
I think the heat rises up to the top, and the top hive did a lot better than the bottom because it goes from the bottom hole and up and out the top entrance where the other hive is, because they had a top and a bottom entrance, and it seemed to be like the top hive did so much better than the bottom.
Yeah, my bees, a lot of bees that I've had, they've preferred top entrances a lot when given the option between.
I saw your last video just a couple. What was it? Yesterday you did that top entrance.
Well, there's one that a video that I said about, is it robbing, because it looked like robbing. Yeah,
top entrance.
Yeah, well, they have it. That's kind of funny the way that colony came to exist. That top box was a swarm trap at one time, but I didn't have any frames in that swarm trap. It was just a lid and a bottom and that box. So I caught bees in it, left them in it, and they overwintered. So then, as you see from that video, all the rest of the boxes are underneath. So I had to under super it so they could expand down, because the top box, I can't take the lid off or I'm just going to rip all the combs apart. So
and they are filling that bottom with all honey, huh?
I really don't know what's going on in there. No, they do have brood kind of in the bottom boxes now. The top box is honey now, just by the weight of it. Because I can pick up the whole box. I just can't take the lid off. So, yeah, it's just funny how that entrance came to be. But, yeah, they're going into their 3rd year now of being in that box. And I've had those bees forever. Oh, my goodness. Like that.
How do you know when they're running out of room?
I just got to take that top box off, sit it aside, and just go through the bottom boxes. But I kind of decided earlier this year that I was only going to give them that many boxes, and I wasn't gonna harvest from them or dig into them. I just collected the swarms from them. They swarmed a few times.
So when you do your bees, are you have a goal, honey multiplying, or just enjoying them, or?
I really don't know. I really love the struggle between bees and varroa mites. I kind of just think it's fascinating. So my goal overall is to enjoy what I'm doing, definitely, and that doesn't include doing all the treating and testing and stuff. So
So you're not like trying to get wax. You're not trying to get propolis. Not trying to get
no,
honey.
no,
Not
I
trying to
mean
get bee venom.
no. I get all those things, but they're not. They're kind of just a byproduct of enjoying myself. I do have buckets of honey. I don't save propolis. I scrape that right into the grass. But I do have stacks of blocks of wax in my barn that I didn't don't make anything with yet. Eventually, I'll find someone to take them, but um, no, it's too. I love catching swarms. I love learning about bees from the bees. I really enjoy the winter time, seeing who makes it through, because I don't give them any help at all. I really just love that what I do is supposedly impossible. If you listen to all these clowns on YouTube, if you don't treat your bees, they're gonna die. If you don't do this, they're gonna die. You got mite bombs doing this and that. It's just so funny. They're just saying it, and it becomes so just ridiculous. That's interesting to me. That that I can do something, and it costs me nothing. Like it actually pays me to do all this stuff. So I don't spend money on anything, not bees, not feed, not treatments. I get to, um, you know, people get to get bees for me in the spring every year. Tons of people to where I'm like can't find where to put bees. I don't know. I don't
You
know what
break
my
them up
goal
in
is.
nukes.
Yeah, I'll bust them all up into nukes. I'll buy a whole bunch of the cardboard nuke boxes. I would never use pro nukes. I would never do that to somebody. Or I'll have people bring their equipment so I can put them into their actual equipment. But yeah, I would never put them in pro nukes. But yeah, that
What do the
or
marshmallows do?
um,
Oh, they love them. Don't they have like a cornstarch in there or something?
yeah, probably some cornstarch. Yeah, there's to keep them from sticking together. But yeah, experiment a little bit. I don't think peppermints hurt bees. I mean, they're just candy. I had bees overwinter on like 8 cases of lollipops a couple years ago that I was called to remove all these bees that were eating lollipops. So I just threw all the cases in my truck, dropped them off here. My bees ate them all up, and I had 100% survival that year. So they can eat that stuff.
I know everybody's on the mite thing right now, and I did like three or four hives doing the mite checks, and I'm like, I don't see much of anything. It's like, but of course, I've been like throwing peppermints like crazy in there, and my theory is like, I want to see if these things take care of the mites, and they're like, they don't know talk about mites where they take care of mites, and I'm like, I just want to see if they do mites. I don't really care. I don't really see beetles. I just want to see if they do mites. I don't really know if they do the mites or if it's just that I don't have mites. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, so you're trying to find out if peppermint affects mites in some way?
Yeah, just curious. So I just dumped the heck out all of them. Just every time I open them up, throw in 6 or so. Just to, and I want to see if they're in the honey. I want to see if you see red dots. And I did see 1 dot one time. Or is the honey going to taste like peppermint? It's like I just want to know
Did
what's it going to
you
do.
did you do any of the conventional type of treatments on your bees?
Nope, nothing this year at all. Last year I did oxalic acid at the last minute, like in October or something like that. I did that like twice, just because last year I had such a struggle trying to take my 2 packages and I divided them right away, and I got 4 colonies out of them, and they were so small in number. I only had like maybe 2 or 3 frames of bees on each one, and I was freaking out. I was like, I think I did this wrong because I have hardly any bees. How are they going to winterize? So I freaked out and I put the oxalic acid in there just to hope. I didn't test for mites. I just I hope. And then I put heaters on the bottom,
Man.
like a chicken water feeder heater. I'm like, I just hope these things survive. There's only like 3 or 4 frames of bees, and all 4 survived. I'm like, did it work? Did I do it or did they do it? I don't know.
Wow, all 4 of them survived. Well,
Yeah,
they
and people
lived.
on the internet, I'd open them up and they're like, Guy, you should just dump them out. They're not going to make it. I'm like, and the ball was like real small cluster right up in the top. I'm
But
like,
you had heaters on all 4 of them all winter?
yeah.
Okay, well, shit.
It's like a water heater. So the idea is it keeps the water from freezing. And I was thinking if it's like the Canadian beekeeper, you don't want them too hot because then they eat all the food. You don't want them too cold. So I just put it on the bottom thinking if it doesn't freeze, maybe it'll help, but it won't make it too hot that they make it worse. But I did get a lot of moisture on the outsides of the hives. The wood would be all like damp and like really wet on the inside. And I had no upper vents. So, and I did have insulation on the top. I had a whole 10 frame box packed with fiberglass on the top to keep the heat in.
I'm telling you, I've seen people do
I was like,
crazy things, and bees still live. Like, I probably already told the story here 1,000 times, but this lady at the bee club, she came in, she didn't know what to do. She's like, this was in the spring, and it was the first time I ever saw her. And she had a bunch of questions, which is good. And then she's like, I need somebody to come over and help me with my bees. And I just started asking questions like, do you already had bees? She goes, yeah, I got bees last year. I said, oh, okay. And they're alive still? She goes, yeah, they're alive. And I said, wow, I mean, you got really lucky because you just started. You only got 1 colony of bees and they survived in your first year. Like, don't get comfortable with that they're just going to survive every time. Then I said, but yeah, I'll help you with it. I'll come over there. I went over there, and it was an 8-frame medium box with a queen excluder, and then another 8-frame medium box. It was 2 little 8-frame medium boxes with a queen excluder in the middle. She had no insulation on the top. What the heck else? She had her mouse, her entrance juicer gone. There was none. So it was a wide open little tiny box with the queen excluder in it. And she left the treatment in there. I think it was, I don't really know which one's the one where it kind of sticks straight down into the frames. Left it in there all winter. And these bees were alive. And I was just like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, do you know how many rules you broke to put these bees in before? When she just kept looking like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, don't feel bad about it, but like, here I am. Now I'm going to tell you to do none of the things that you did, for this upcoming winter. And, I helped her a few times, but I haven't heard from her in a while. I don't know what's going on.
I was talking to a beekeeper out in Pennsylvania mountains, and she was saying, it's nothing about what you do. They survive. I mean, you might think that you do this, you do that.
But a queen excluder in between 2 medium boxes? Like, how did they do that? Like, did the bees go up, get honey, and come back down? The queen was alive. She was perfectly fine. Yeah, it was just strange. And that reminds me of like hillbilly beekeeping's thing. He's got a queen. I don't know if he's got a queen excluder, but got a flow hive on top of a standard box with a feeder on top of the flow hive. So that caused me to like wonder, like, is there an excluder in between the flow hive and the standard box? Because there probably really should be. If there is, then why are you feeding? Why is it even on there? Are you leaving the flow hive on there over winter? Are you going to let them put brood in there? Like, what the hell's going on with that mess? I don't know. It's kind of funny, but that just reminded me of that weird situation with the.
We are just addicted to
a flow hive with a feeder on top.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually like his access in the bottom. Did you ever see that? He has like this little compartment on the bottom. It's like a little compartment. You open up the back door or front, I forget what it is, and
the
you
window?
can actually go. Oh no! In the bottom of the bottom of the hive, there's like an empty box. So you can, what do you want to put in there? It's awesome. You could put like Dominionist earth. You could put a heater. You could put a propolis catcher. It's
okay, yeah.
Yeah. It's
whatever.
like there's so many crazy ideas and it still works. Well, how? Why?
I don't know if it works. Yeah, we got to see if it works. So
Yep.
it works if they're still alive. You know. Let me see. What's this say? I like to drop a link to. It's Galloway Lights. I think you know who Galloway Lights is. You probably just never seen his face. How do I even drop a link? How do I even do that?
I
Let me
have no idea.
Here, well, I'll type the name. If you type in, I'm terrible at typing. Right there, that's the whole channel name right there, Galloway Lights.
Yeah.
What does that even mean anyway? What is your channel name?
I thought you'd ask. It's actually because I did Christmas lights. My theory was in Galloway, I get tired of driving around looking for people's Christmas lights during the winter. And it seems like winter Christmas light season is so cotton picking short. And everybody wants you to go to this party, that party, the other party. And there's so many family things that you have no time in your life. If we could have a website that people have their lights on, I could stop all this driving around. So that's what I originally thought of. But I just never got to that point, and the technology was beyond me, and I didn't have the drive. But then one time I was watching one of these beekeepers, and they said you ought to put your experiences on the bees on the internet, and so other people can learn from your mistakes and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I can learn from my own mistakes because I can't remember half of what I do. And so that's what I decided. I'm going to put what I do on the internet so I can go back and rewatch it, and people could comment and maybe help me get straightened out. So that's what I started doing.
All right. But so that's not your name or anything. Galloway is the city. Is that what it is?
Galloway is a city, and the idea is just to have the lights from the local city around me, just like. And then the other thing is, do people want their lights on the internet? And it's like, oh, gee, here we go, political stuff.
Oh no. Yeah, there's a place here called Christmas Village. I don't know if you ever heard about that, but they got crazy.
I'm looking it up.
Christmas Village. It's in my area. It's like the craziest lights you've ever seen.
That's what I love.
When you come up over the hill, it's out in the middle of nowhere over here. It's not too far away from here, maybe like 7 or 8 miles, but you don't see anything. Everything's jet black because it's nighttime all the time when you go over there. And then all of a sudden you come over this hill and you look out and it's just crazy how much, if you like that kind of Christmas light stuff.
Yeah, I like gaudy.
And
gaudy
people during the time of the year when they're busy, which is right around Christmas, man, the traffic, you can't get in or out of anywhere. I would hate to live over there. Okay, I would just leave for from Thanksgiving until New Year's. I would go to Florida or something.
That's why you like other people to put on YouTube so you can watch it without having to get out of the cold. Yeah. It's much easier.
All right, so Rodney Middleton went over there. You'll hear it. He'll tell you what's up. He'll give you the real deal. He won't be blowing smoke up your butt.
Amen to that.
But all right, man, we're coming up on almost 2 hours. Thanks for coming on over here. I'm getting some.
And I really appreciate your latest videos. The catch of that little hive out there in the broken down building, bringing it home in your little barn there, showing me how to identify a feeding frenzy or a robbing. I mean, that kind of stuff is what I need because they're tools that I can apply and not have to learn from my own mistake, and I can go on from there. It's awesome.
Yeah, see what I do over here on this channel, I don't know about other channels, but I don't go outside with my camera with an idea to say, okay, now I need to make a video. What am I going to make a video about? And then, that's how a lot of these videos start for a lot of these channels. Like, okay, I think I need to come up with an idea. What should I do? I can't think of anything. So let me make a video how to light a smoke or whatever. And then they do it wrong. Or I'm going to show you how to make this thing. I'd never do that shit. I just kind of go through my day, and when I find something that I think, this might make a good video, or maybe somebody doesn't know this one thing, then I pull my phone out and I try to record that thing. or if I have a plan to do something. Like if I'm planning on going to get some bees, those usually make pretty good videos. But that's kind of how I do it, really. I mean, I just walk around, on my days off and look for something that I think
Yep.
might say, oh, wait, probably people don't, especially if I see bees on a flower that I've never seen them on before, or something like when people are telling me bees do not use this flower. They just don't do it. And then I see them on it. Oh shit, here comes my phone because I'm going to put it on there, using weird plants and stuff.
Yeah, my family is my biggest critics. They hate bee videos. They hate bees, and so if it ain't quick, they don't really watch the first 2 seconds. So I'm always trying to figure out how to get it quick, short, and maybe they'll watch like 2 seconds of it.
Yeah.
It's boring to them. It's like, Dad, that bees again. It's like,
Yeah, so we're gonna put. Barbara Simmons said you should put light displays on your hives.
I did for St. Patrick's Day. Nobody watched it.
Yeah, Ronnie puts out videos that can help people, and yeah, you'll see. Like you got to watch his for swarm trapping. Ton of good swarm trapping videos. Just kind of normal inspections. Little not. It's not like I hate just keep dumping on other channels, but it's not like this. You're just trying to get clout from everybody all the time. That's what these other. That's why I come on here.
Drive for content, and when you want to have a channel that's big, you have to do stupid stuff to get it going.
Yeah, but I mean, I could take the shortcut. I could start sending emails to big shot YouTubers, yank them on my little channel, beg them to come on, and then
hand out prizes.
Yeah, hand out prizes and dangle a little carrot on a stick. And then sit there while actual real beekeepers are talking and just make dumbass jokes the whole time. Just like, oh man, or just be a windbag. I don't know. You got to get someone on here to take the focus off of you and just ride coattails. I won't do it. I would love for somebody contact me, wanted to come on, boom, come on. But I'm not going to beg somebody to come on here.
I have to ask you, is the ragging on other hives other people's videos, is that really your inner, like, what you think about, or is it something that is more like a publicity thing, or is it?
Oh God, no.
Or,
I mean, what kind of publicity would I get from talking shit?
You got me.
Yeah, I mean, talking about a garbage channel like Time is Honey. 180 something probably bots following him. No, the main reason for that. Well, okay, I'm glad you asked that. So we're gonna not put an end to this show right here. If you go back in history on this channel,
okay,
Time is Honey is not the first person who I lambasted on here.
Hey, I tried to get on there and you wouldn't do it. I came on with my what is it, Legos, and you're like, nah, that's stupid.
I think Rodney will remember. There was a time a couple years ago. There was another channel called. At the time it was called Baddest Bees, and it was a guy that I kind of miss right now because he was really, really ragging on my content, like really taking this weird position, this real weird kind of bully, like know everything position, was shitting on the things that I was doing over here. So he was the first one I pulled up and did a totally I dressed his ass down 2 or 3 times on here. Like that caused the big spark that made, I lost some subscribers, didn't really care, gained some. It was a big mess. And you can look it up. Just look on my channel and type in trolls, they put troll in there. But yeah, he was the first one I took apart. He never really recovered, disappeared, gone. Haven't seen a video from him in months, but I kind of miss that guy because as much of a jerk off as that original guy was, he's nowhere near the jerk off that this Time is Honey guy is. And those other blowhards, those windbags over there, that they all blocked me. But do I like doing it? I mean, it doesn't bother me at all. This is my channel. Okay. So I can put bee stuff on here. I can put gardening stuff. When somebody goes out of their way to try to to try to belittle me or like bully me or send harassing weird sexual emails to me, I'll pull them up on here and take them apart, like I did, and we'll do it. If there's people that won't like it, see you later. Some that just don't mind it, and some that don't care.
But isn't that really like a guy thing anyway? It's like women don't do that too, but when guys get around, it's like they rag on each other, they make fun, they poke, and that's the whole like guy way of, like when you go to sports, you down each other's teams. That's the way we do it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like that. Like I think downing each other's teams is kind of fun. Like what these other people are doing, it's kind of, I think it's a little different. And I don't think it's specific to men. Probably women do it too, but yeah, I don't know. I have mixed feelings. Like I wish I could sit here and talk about strictly bees all the time, but it gets to where like what else are you going to talk about? You might as well mulch your enemies, they especially when they kind of initiate the whole thing. So yeah, that dude really like caused a bunch of stuff for me, but it's okay. He's giving me a lot of content.
Brings out the ideas too, right?
It works out. Yeah, I mean, and not only that, I use Time is Honey's videos as like a learning tool too, because I can show you what absolutely not to do. Like in many ways, don't do any of the things that he does. Don't even have the attitude that he does, because it's terrible. He's just a terrible person. These other guys, I like pointing out that we got snake oil salesmen really trying to push these absolute junk products that solve a problem that doesn't exist. Like there's no problem that you need these supplements for. What's the fucking problem that you need these things to put in your food? And just the lengths that they're going to jam it down everybody's throat and to go into business and to just, they can ruin their own channels talking about it constantly. But now it's to the point now where that's all they talk about, which is, and
it is kind of sad.
Yeah, it is really sad. And here's the funniest part. They're all trying to sell it at the same time, but didn't really explain how the money gets split up. So I can see a little bit of some stress happening soon, because if you notice, Hillbilly said in his last video he hasn't sold a single item yet. Put up on this website, did all this shit, hasn't made a sale. They're all getting sold by one of the other ones. Not only that, wait until one of these big beekeepers decides they're going to push it and sell it. Well, now these guys are going to be stuck licking their wounds. They won't have anything.
Or when you get a China knockoff.
Yeah, I think one of these other big beekeeper YouTubers is going to see the dollar signs. They're going to come in and sell it even more and totally just blow these people right out of the water. But who cares? I don't really care. It's just, I don't want anybody that watches me would think that I would endorse any bullshit like that.
So what's your prediction on how long it'll run? Like Hive Alive last year was like a 1 year season thing, I guess. And
yeah, I don't know. It seems to get hot for a little while, I think, and then people kind of forget about it, and then there's the new thing. So I don't know. I don't even follow those things. I only learned about those things from watching those other channels. I could have went my whole life never knowing what Hive Alive is, what this other crap is.
Can you think back in the years that you've been beekeeping and the various things that have popped up, as like pollen collectors or hive gates or anything crazy things that you've seen come as like the thing and then it went away?
Man, that is a really good question, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. There are a few things, but I can't think
Rapid
of
round feeders.
Yeah, there are weird things, but I just can't think of them right now. I mean, there's definitely the treatments. First of all, they've all come and gone. All of them, hop guard,
and
all these weird treatments have come and then gone, and then this oxalic acid came.
That's the biggest kick right now, right? Oxalic.
It is, and the funny thing is, a lot of people can't pronounce it. They say all kinds of osalic, like all
Just say wood bleach.
yes, they would bleach, but they're finding that it's just not having the effectiveness that it used to. Like you used to only have to use it once in the fall. That used to be what people did. They used it one time in the fall. Then it became a couple times. Then now it's like every 3 days, seven for a long time, several times over the it's soon going to get to the point where you literally have to have a mountain of it in the center of your hive and have the bees walking through it all day. It's just not gonna be effective for a long time.
Have you ever tested yours for mites?
I haven't. I had an inspector 2-3
Like-
years ago.
Like a sticky board or anything like that, or
No, I don't use screen bottom boards, so I don't have sticky boards. I don't.
so you really don't really know if you had or what they were doing, really.
If my bees have mites, how I know they have
Yeah,
mites.
if they're surviving from it or if they're struggling, or maybe yours don't even have any. You don't
No, they
know.
do. They 100% do, because in front of some of my colonies, I'll have crawlers, which is a good sign that you got a ton of mites in that hive, and you'll have a bunch of crawlers in the grass, and you can pick those bees up and look at them, and they have mites on them. So I know I have mites every.
So they're like crawling up the plants and stuff.
They're just crawling out of the hive, and they can't fly, so they just walk around on the ground, and they walk out there and they die. They walk around until they die. Some of them have deformed wings. It never correlates to death of that colony. For me, I mean, it's not a strict correlation like this one has a bunch of crawlers, so it's going to die. There could be one that has a bunch of crawlers and it lives, where another one has no crawlers in the grass and dies. So
they'll have crawlers like all season long.
No, it's usually only right about this time of year, right before winter comes.
Maybe they're kicking out the bad guys.
It could be that, but I think they mostly, individual bees will have a number of mites on them. They'll come out the entrance thinking they're going to go for a forage flight, and they just have nothing in them and just tumble out.
Maybe that's how they survive, is like a purge. All the weak ones run off, and away goes the mites with them.
Yeah, they just tumble out into the grass, and then they just start walking. So I'll find some walking in the grass like 100 yards from the hive. They've just been walking all day. So beetle entrance guards, that is kind of one thing that I remember seeing, not really seeing much or hearing much about it. Let me see, rapid round feeders.
What did he say? A lot of success?
He says he's had success with the rapid round feeders.
Small hives are light. Oh, so he likes to build them up in the fall?
It seems, when fall comes around, you need to get some of them colonies up to weight. So,
oh, you do feed yours?
I haven't fed. No, I didn't feed this year or last year. Last year was the first year I never fed. I didn't feed anything, and this year I also didn't feed.
So is it like a philosophy they should survive if they can, or?
I just learned how to not overstress my bees and
examine,
just like manipulate them to the point where they stalled out and then we're light. I just decided I'm just not feeding them, and I'm also not taking every ounce of honey from them. So,
I did that.
Yeah, if you take everything.
I took all the wet. I had like 19%. I was like, I'm like, that hive was designed from the day one. I said, this is going to be honey. I don't really care. I'm taking it. So I did.
Oh, you took everything?
Everything.
Out of the brood frames and everything?
Yes.
I mean,
actually, the one frame that had all the brood was actually, what do they call them things? Drones. And they were actually dead. And I started pulling them out because they're all dead and they're like decaying. And they're like not like solid drones. They're starting to decompose.
Yeah, I think
and they had a bunch of mites in them. So I think maybe that's what they're doing. They're killing the drones because they're trying to knock off the mites. Do they know that? Are they that smart?
I don't know. I don't even think that far into it. What I look at, like when you said maybe your bees might have mites, maybe they don't. Sometimes I get caught up in that question. I forget to answer it thusly and just by saying they survive. Like they actually survive. I don't care how many mites they have. You know, whether it's a lot, whether it's a little. I know that they're there because I see them. But I don't. That's an argument that a lot of people you not that you're arguing, but it's a point that people will make with me. Well, you don't know if they're even surviving because you don't know how many mites they have. No,
well, my
they
question is it really that important then? You know, if you don't know and they don't bother you and they survive, do we really need to worry about it? It's like, are we dwelling on the wrong things?
Yeah, I mean that's the question. I'll never treat bees. I'll never not have bees. Bees aren't going to be extinct. I'm always going to have fun with it. So thinking about mites and everything isn't something. It seems normal to talk about mites all day when you are surrounded by beekeepers who are like that.
It's like watching the news. They talk about that all day long.
Yeah, it's really liberating to finally just say, hey man, not only am I going to never worry about treating for mites, but my end result is going to be the best bees around. You know, the real survivor bees. Like it's easy to say, oh, I treated with this and all my bees survived. Well, none of them survived. All of them were saved. They didn't. That's not survivor bees. It's not survivor stock. So you can't compare those things. You know.
So the question is, when do you decide like this is time for me to step in rather than being step back and let them do their thing? When do you say like that colony could benefit from me to doing something to it rather than just letting them do it?
Only in a case of hopeless queenlessness.
How would you know that's going on? By their activity up front?
No, by inspecting, by going in, seeing that there's no queen, there's no eggs, I can't find a queen, and I'll close them up, wait a couple days, try again. Usually give them a couple chances. When I finally see there's no queen whatsoever, I'll step in and requeen them or give them what they need to make a new queen. Or I'll step in to give them space or to make a split when for those things. But I never step in to save bees from varroa mites. No.
And the split is just the numbers you start to see, like they're packed out, all but like two frames.
They're making swarm cells. I'll just make another nuke, either for someone or just to have another colony or to put somewhere else. But I never try to save bees from mites.
So did you just jump right into the brood area and skip all the what they call them things, the top boxes, the supers and stuff? You just jump right into the meat of it, and you're not like I do. I do almost every frame just because I'm curious of what's going on. But do you kind of like just go into the meat, find the queen, see if it's okay, and jump out and leave them be?
Oh, you mean when I'm doing inspections, like normal inspections?
Yeah.
For the first part of the year, April, May, June, I'm not really producing honey, so everything's going to be brewed. Like the bottom box and a good amount of the top box is going to be brewed. So it's not like I'm taking a bunch of honey supers off, but yeah, I do go right down in there. I mean, I'll look through the honey. I don't use queen excluders, so the queen could be anywhere, but yeah, I'll often take the top box off. But I also don't keep like skyscraper hives. You're not going to see, I mean, maybe a couple of them are bigger, but I'm not going to have these big stacks of boxes like commercial beekeepers have.
I had one like that. That's the one I took the honey from, was 4 high, and she was all the way up in the freaking top box.
Yeah, I don't really like dealing with honey. I do have honey. I harvest honey.
But the bottom box, there's hardly anything in it. So she jumped up to the box, and I guess maybe they didn't like the bottom. Maybe it was like too cold or something. I don't know. But the bottom box was like not much in there. She moved all the way up, and everybody went up to the top 3, and she was up in the 3rd box. I'm like, okay, interesting.
Do you have screen bottom boards on your hives?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know.
No screen. I
mean, when you look into feral colonies, like in trees and things, they're always going to start at the top and go down and then go back.
That's what your on the other channel was saying. Top down. That's when they see them in the wall cavities. They start from the top and start building out their wax.
Who was that?
Some of those other people.
Some of them other damn clowns. They don't know.
But no, when they start doing, like you said, the cutouts, that's what they start. They try at the top and they start drawing down. And I'm like, interesting. And we put them on the top.
Yeah, I mean, they do draw from the top down, but they can draw from the bottom up too. They can, it's not ideal, but yeah, it seems like when the bees go into a thing, whether it's a tree or a cavity, yeah, they start at the top. It's kind of weird sometimes because it'll have a lot of honey at the top and then the brood down in the bottom. But then it seems like they just keep moving down. Like they keep moving, they keep filling in with honey and taking brood down.
So it is the dome that they always project, or the dome moving up around or whatever.
Yeah, it seems to start at the top and move down in most cases. Sometimes it'll be in the middle. It'll be all over the place. But then I guess when they go down, by the time fall and winter comes, then they start moving back up. Yeah, I don't know. Bees are free. I mean, they're interesting, but can confuse you sometimes.
And you like the eight boxes, right?
8 frame boxes?
Yeah, that's what you like.
I have everything. I have 8, 10, 5, 6.
Which is the best, do you think?
I really don't know. I think my favorite is 5 frame nukes stacked, but that can be hard to keep sometimes.
Why?
For wintertime, they're just so easy to knock over, and then inspecting them can be a little bit of a pain sometimes. I like nukes. I don't know.
What's an inspection issue?
Just when they're 4 high, taking them down. They can
4 high.
Yeah. Like, to me, that's a lot. I don't know.
And they could be anywhere.
They can tip over pretty easy. I don't like that. I don't know. I think they do the best in the wintertime. That's
now how is it brewed usually in a 4 high nuke? Is it the whole 4 boxes of brood, like stretched from top to bottom, or?
No, it seems like it's usually in the bottom 2, and then honey above that. But like this time of the year, I don't really go in my bees anymore. Like I'm done going in them, except for the 2 emergency kind of inspections I want to do tomorrow, just to see if I need to combine them, because I don't see any point in just letting a bunch of bees just die for no reason. But as far as everybody else, I'm not going through them, so I really don't even know what their configuration is, and I haven't been into them in a while.
What's your emergency numbers when you say this is too small?
Well, here a colony won't get too small. They'll just get robbed. Like I had a colony get robbed a couple days ago. It continued for a couple days, and now they're done. They're dead. They're all cleaned out.
So how many frames would be considered too small, like brood?
To overwinter?
Well, if we just say like it's going to get robbed out, what would you say is like alert? They're too small. They're going to get robbed.
It happens. It just happens before I even get a chance to find out something like that. When I was walking around the yard, I saw everybody was peaceful, and then I saw one with a really heavy cloud around it, and it was just about to get dark, so I knew that was definitely getting robbed out. I hadn't been in it in a while, and it's cleaned out now. All their honey got redistributed. All those bees that were in there absconded and probably split up between all the other hives. So there's really no loss. I'm going to inspect that anyway, just to see what was going on in there. I would guess that it was probably laying worker colony that just dwindled. That's usually what it is majority of the time for me.
Did it have the typical fighting on the outside?
There was very little fighting. I think it was already too far gone. There was not many bees left to fight.
It almost looked like normal activity?
Yeah, it looked like really heavy activity. You probably look at it and say, man, that hive is booming. That's got some great activity. But I could tell that there was no reason to have that much activity at that time of day. This time,
You got to
of year.
catch me that next time so I can see it on a video. Because I'm still, I am still, I remember when they bounce in. I like that idea. They bounce in. They're fat with stuff. They're bringing in stuff, and I like that analogy. So if they're bouncing in there, they're
Well,
probably
they
not.
kind of crash down heavy.
Yeah.
You know, they hit
Yep.
in the grass, and they.
I like that. I'm looking for that next time.
When you see bees land at the entrance and they're so fat that they're kind of clear, you can almost see through them, and they're going into the hive. That's a really good sign. You know, they're going in. But when they're coming
so
out,
that's like their abdomen is like stretched out, I guess.
yeah, it's totally stretched. It looks like a drop of like amber, you know, from one of those old fossilized old trees, you know, dropping. If their body looks like a ball of amber and they're going in, that's good. I mean, I like seeing that. Let me just see what everybody's seeing here. Ronnie said you may have given them too much space, which is definitely likely if all the bees kind of abandon the bottom boxes. And yeah, that's another point that Ronnie makes. For some reason,
why they blow it out?
They just build comb really well, in my opinion, and stacked.
Oh, you mean like overwhelm themselves and swarm off?
No. What he means by blow out is they build the combs really fast. So we call that just blowing the box out. You know, it's kind of
so
like
if you want to build comb, 5 boxes is the way to go. Then
5 frame equipment is good. Yeah, they build comb really fast. It seems like they're all kind of concentrated in the center. They do what's called they blow it out. that's just a way of saying they build it really fast. Yeah. So yeah, with robbing, the entrance will be, and I'll make a video tomorrow to show that robbed colony, and I'll go through it bit by bit, and you'll see all the smeary, sticky stuff on the entrance. But the cool thing about that video, which I'm going to point out, is that there's a colony on either side of it. There's one right next to it on the left and right next to it on the right. And they only robbed that weak one. They did not, like, all my whole yard went after that one colony. They could have easily went after the other 2. But they
you think they all jump on? Everybody else jumps on them. It's like
just
a mad.
Yeah.
It's like alert. There's a weakling and they all bounce on each other.
Yeah, I think a dying weak colony gives off some pheromones of stress, and the rest of the bees pick up on it, and they just go take it apart, and they take everything. It's kind of like,
you don't think it's just one hive that does it?
No, I mean it could be, but no, I could tell it was a bunch of them. It's kind of like when you're walking through a neighborhood, like what kind of vibes do you give off? Do you give off like victim vibes, pheromones? You know, are you looking over your shoulder like nervous all the time, or do you walk through like you're from Time is Honey, like you're a big tough guy? You know, when you're that guy and you walk through a neighborhood, nobody's gonna mess with you.
Yeah.
You know, but and that's how this hive is. It was giving off those come rob me pheromones, and that's what I think happened. What do you say? It's like looting. Let me see. David Black. Yeah, see, so for me, I prefer nukes, and it seems like with Rodney and David, they also found their own reasons for liking that too, you know, independently of me. Like I didn't tell them, and they didn't tell me, but for some reason there's like a theme that we like 5-frame nukes, the way bees perform in them, you know.
Now you haven't gone as bad as the what is it, Beehive Barn, and going down to 2 frames?
Oh, God. No, I mean, you're talking about little mating nukes.
Well, I don't know. I mean, they might not be mating. You might have found some secret here. They might be beyond.
Yeah, you're
maybe
probably
you have 6 highs.
You're probably talking about barnyard bees.
Yeah, barnyard bees having 6 high or something. I don't know.
No, he does a lot of, from what it seems. I don't watch that channel, but I know that he takes packages, you know, buys a bunch of extra queens and makes little 2-frame nukes and makes splits and 2-frame boxes, and it's just another commercial bee peddler, product peddler, you know.
Well, it just gives me the idea that maybe we don't need as many bees to survive winter as you think. You know, maybe the 10 box deep of bees and a 10 box deep of honey is not necessary to get through winter. Maybe they can survive on smaller numbers and
oh yeah, definitely
be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I overwinter single 5-frame nukes all the time. And somebody on Facebook was
Single 5 frames, so there's only like 2 frames of bees.
Yeah, it's about 2.5, 3 frames of bees with honey just crammed in. So it's got to be heavy, like 2 cinder blocks. And they can. I've overwintered hundreds of single nukes, single 5-frame.
And how
nukes.
cold do you get down in the winter?
Well, that winter it was -22.
And no insulation, no heaters.
No, I insulate the lid. I always insulate the lid. No heaters. No, definitely no heaters in there. No, God, no. I always put insulation on the lid just so that when they do create some heat, it can rise and not cause too much condensation. But
2-inch foam, or
yeah, I use 2-inch solid foam, the rigid foam.
Do you do an upper vent?
Yep. I have. Well, most of my hives have holes all over the place, so you will see in the video that I'll make. Some of them have such wide open holes in the top. You would think all the heat leaves.
That's what I would think. Yes.
It doesn't. I mean, it may leave, but the bees don't die.
It works. Yeah.
The bees don't die. They get extra cold, but they're dry as hell because there's no moisture in there. They stay dry. They may be cold, but they live, and that's what never being true.
You're definitely a believer that the high humidity is probably not a good idea?
I wouldn't confirm or deny that it's good or bad. All I can say is I had boxes that look like Swiss cheese, wind blowing straight through them in, below 0 Fahrenheit temperatures in a nuke, and they still live. So I take that and try to say, if they can survive that, then I don't know why they need all these other things.
Do you put your nukes right next side of each other so they can share heat on the?
No, I've never done that. I always keep them far apart.
That goes to show you, some of the stuff that I worry about may not necessarily be.
The sharing heat thing, I don't like that at all because they're gonna cluster on the walls. They're gonna tighten up and cluster on the walls instead of one hive is gonna think that they're together with that other, and they're gonna go right up the side. So maybe if you have a whole bunch of them all pinned together, maybe that'll work. I don't know. I can't do that. All my bees are already spaced apart. I'm not going to move them now at the end, but I've seen people do it. I mean, maybe it works.
And you don't stack nukes on top of each other to try and share heat?
No, I can't because they're already tall enough. I can't stack them.
Because they're like a single. Some of them are singles, though, right?
Yeah. But I got deer running around in here and raccoons and stuff trying to knock things over. Plus, that causes confusion on a warm day. If you're stacking 2 or 3 single nukes on top of each other, I guess you could turn their entrances around so they're not all the same. But when they all come bursting out of there on a warm day, to do their cleansing flights, they're not going to all beautifully file back into the same box. You're going to have one of them, probably the top one, get all the bees. Like they're all going to hit that top one and go in, and you're going to drain your bottom ones. That's just, I'm guessing that.
Yeah.
So I don't want that. I want them to all be good space in between them, looking differently, so there's not so much drift on those cleansing flights, because that's important. They need to get out, cleanse, and then they got to get back in.
Do you see a lot of that orange debris on the front when they cleanse?
Sometimes, only sometimes. You might find 1 or 2 that might have some dysentery or something. They'll coat the front or all around, but no, not a lot. Just here and there. What was I thinking of? And my eyes are burning up. I'm gonna get going here for tonight, but man, we had a long one.
The video coming.
This is the longest live I've ever done, so we're making history here. Yeah,
Keep the videos coming.
Tomorrow's the last time I'm ever going to go into bees for this year. I'm going to check those 2, and I'll go into that one that got robbed, and I'll put that all together for a couple days. And then I'll be back on just trashing more channels. I'll probably get some more shitty emails from people, and just we'll see who I can review next.
And when are you going to get back into them? In April?
Yeah. I don't have any reason to open them after I close them up finally. Yeah, I'll check them in April. Yeah.
And are you sweeping snow and trying to drag out dead bodies and stuff like that?
Sometimes, yeah. If we get way too much snow, yeah, I might clear the entrance, sweep out a little bit of dead bees if I can. But they all have upper entrances and side entrances and all over the place. So I'm not too worried about them getting locked in, which can happen. If you only have one entrance at the bottom and you have a mouse guard on,
Yeah,
can
mine get frozen solid.
Yeah,
I have like ice.
they're stuck in there. There's no way they're getting out. They're just stuck. You could have perfectly good bees that are just dead in there because they either suffocate or they can't get out, when it warms up. But all right. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night. See you on the next one. All right, everyone. Thanks to Galloway Lights for coming in and hanging out. And I'm going to bed. Look at how tired I am. All right. Have a good night, y'all.